Let's just rub the hands and rub the knees. Relaxing the shoulders. To make it quite hard work, so there's a bit of friction, so the hands get significantly warmer. And then just rubbing the knees. Just moving the spine a little bit. And now let's hold the hands behind the back and pull the shoulder blades together and the shoulders back. Pulling the collarbones away from the sternum. Baring your chest. Bringing the hands back round, but mindfully intending it. So let the hands separate And then see that movement, see the movement of the arms. It's easier if you let one lead. And then just into the breathing. Using the intention. So you see the movement before it actually happens. It's not just a matter of seeing it in the mind's eye, you have to become the movement. So here, how would I feel when I open my hands? So I induce that feeling and it forces the hands open. So you're sort of leading. So the intending mind is not just seeing an image, it's feeling. So it's the mind that produces energy. It's got nothing to do with thinking, nothing to do with seeing images, really. It's all to do with feeling and mood. So what sort of mood would produce this movement, and then what would pull the hands back in? It's like if you had something really difficult to do, like pushing your car, for example. You know, it's broken down, you need to push it off the road. So you get behind it and you give it a push and you think, shit, it's not going to move. So obviously your normal strength isn't enough. You need to produce something extra, something special. So you really dig down into your legs and you scream, and slowly this car starts to inch forwards. So that's the sense of spirit and intention. It's like we're just doing something that's incredibly easy as though it's immensely difficult. So just putting as much effort and concentration and intention into it, just as a way of practicing. It's the opposite of the way people want to work. They want to find an efficient, easy way of doing something so that their mind can think to itself. And here we're just doing the opposite so that the mind doesn't think to itself. The mind is completely involved in what's happening. And then just turning a little bit with it. And then reaching out. Again, use the intention, see this movement. The movement comes from the back. The shoulder blade is pushing away from the spine, down the arm. So the energy starts in the shoulder and eventually gets to my fingers. If I use my normal mind, then my fingers will want to lead. And if I'm simply reaching out to touch something gently, then that's what would happen. But if I'm really reaching out to give something a damn good yank that's going to take a lot of energy, then I need to lead with my whole body from the back. Then reaching up. Now let's just try a few up and down, pulling the head right back. Begin to get into the peripheral vision. So you've got your central vision, which is clear, and then you've got right around the edge, which is blurred. You just want to become more aware of that. It's like you're trying to look further than you can. So here I'm looking up, but I'm actually interested in what's behind me. And just keep it going. Let's do a couple with the eyes closed. And as though you're trying to see, but the eyes are closed. So in a way, it's easier to get a sense of the peripheral vision of your fringes when you're not distracted by what the center of what you see with in the central field. So it's more like using the eyes to feel rather than actually see. And now let's just rub the hands. And we'll do the eyes. And then the hands up, pointing the two fingers, and then out to the side. And then just open the eyes a little bit and snake. So the hands pull back so that you can only just see this with the peripheral vision. Almost like you can't really see it, but you can sort of sense it. So you have the proprioception, so you can sense where your hands are because you know your own body, you know where your hand is without having to see it. And so the peripheral vision, it's really blurring the distinction between what you actually see with the eyes and what you feel with the body. That's what we want. And then bring the hands up again and down into prayer. And now turning the head. With hooded eyes. So again, you're not interested really in what the middle of the eye sees. You're interested in what you see at the edges. So as you turn the head to the side, you get a sense of what's coming out of your spine, the wing. This is what we want to see. We're turning the head in order to look behind the body, but you can't look clearly. So can you see your wing? Can you see this energy that's coming out of the spine and around and over your shoulder? Or can you feel it more like? Is your spirit awake enough to produce this energetic reality? This is what John was all about, especially towards the end of my time with him in Blakeney. Just working with this energy body all the time. Okay, and now the hands up again, and then out, and then one hand turning over and turning the head and letting the hands turn. So it's a bit like you're doing figures of eight, but with quite extended arms. And then just bring it in. So figure of eight, and just the figure of eight exercise really, but really turning and twisting and so we want our movements to be an expression of what's happening deep, deep down inside us. And so we make the movement, we make an image of the movement really, and with repetition, it gets inside, it internalizes. So what is it that forces it inside? It's the intention, the spirit. So just imagine it's difficult. Imagine you're in this thick liquid and it's really difficult to get this machine operating. And the deeper inside it goes, it just goes towards the sacrum and the bottom couple of vertebrae, the dantian and the part that's beneath the dantian. There's a sense that the central vision, which we're normally using to clearly see the world around us, it just looks inside. That's with the machine, if you like, with the engine, like the car. You know, when you lift the bonnet, the hood of the car, what you see is just unexpected. If you only knew what a car, if you only saw a car moving around, you have no idea what was inside it. So I'm with the workings. My central vision is with the workings, and my peripheral vision is with the reality that's coming out of me, the movement, and my environment. So it's the opposite of the way that we normally are, where we're using the central vision to look at the world, and the peripheral vision is completely ignored. So the energy just sucks back inside. There's no energy. We want to become total energy, all energy. So for that, I need to draw the central vision in, because it will just distract me otherwise. Now let's just bring it down to here. And again, now just that central vision, it's like, you know, the central vision, which we're normally always trying to get to diverge so that we've got as big a picture as possible. It just converges into this point. Inside, something is just gazing down into the dantian. But everything else is just really waking up and becoming alive. Peripheral vision, it's not just what you see, it's what you feel. So I'm feeling these plumes of energy coming out of my body, my back, and then here again. The meditation. So primarily it's, relaxing, quietening the mind and sinking, just letting gravity wash down through you. But it will also just wake up the energy if you let it. They're a bit like, Tai Chi, really. Okay, now let's just try getting out of that. Open the legs. So when I'm working with my students individually, then there's always a point in the lesson where we sit like this opposite each other. Normally my feet are stretching their legs apart, so they're in a little bit of discomfort, if not pain. We hold hands. So my right hand is holding their right hand, and I get them to put their left hand on the floor. Immediately there's a flow, because there's such a difference between what their two hands are touching. So they've got the cold floor here and this living, warm, hopefully, creature in front of them. So you immediately get a flow because there's a potential difference effectively. And that single weightedness, that's the two sides being different in order to get energy to flow. And the mind is quiet. It's not talking to itself, but it is feeling like a wild animal. Imagine a wild animal that's just woken up. And it's like its spirit just takes it into the world on the prowl. That's a sense of us. It's very much Taoist what we're doing. It's not civilized. It's of nature. It's of wildness and wilderness, of spirit. And then let's just bring it into the butterfly. Legs stretched out, straight ahead. Just try and spread the toes. And then into the kneel. use the eyes. So the central vision locked down into your Danchen so that the peripheral vision will really open up. So the more I can focus inside, the more I see or feel from my back and my peripheries. And then down into the fetus, so effectively becoming all back. So down, you can either have the arms stretched out or just pull them a bit back. So you're curling up, there's no front now, you're just all back, all shell. Back up, just separating the feet a little and sitting down between them. And then just down into the fetus again. So it feels quite different now because we're sort of lower down. Now let's just lie down on the back. And just using the hands to pull the knees up and apart. So the sinking, it all depends upon strong legs and open hips. So I want to be able to pull my legs completely apart, ideally. And then just straighten one leg down, pointing the toes, extending it as far as you can, and pull the other knee right up. And just feel the difference between the two sides. And then swap them round, pull one knee up and then extend the other foot. And again. And again. And then swap the legs round again, but now holding my left knee with the right hand and just pulling it over the other leg and turning the head the other way. Just be careful with this. You just keep it on, and gradually your knee will get closer and closer to the ground. You can either have a bent leg or you can straighten that leg. And then the other side. So it's important that the shoulders stay flat on the ground. So the hips are basically just turning in the opposite direction from the shoulders. So you're twisting the spine, trying to get that twist as low down the spine as possible. Again, always do things at least twice. And then the other side. And then back up with the knees, pulling them apart. Into the squat. And then standing. Let's just start off with this. Well, I'm just really loosen the hips really, but the knees as well, obviously, and the ankles. And so this is really tipping. And slowly you realize it's beginning to turn you and that everything changes. Suddenly the eyes become less useful in a way, or the central vision certainly. The central vision will tend to make us stop and look. It will sort of immobilize the body a little bit, whereas the peripheral vision is just all movement and energy. Feel the three centers, so the three dantians: belly, heart, head. Just imagine each one is like a little yin-yang symbol, or like a little figure of 80 exercise like this. And we're trying to get them all gyrating. So I'm using this action of my legs to get this figure of 8 going. Get it here first, obviously, and then it sort of comes up into the shoulders, and so it gets into the heart, and then the head as well. And then sort of into like a loose riding horse. So I've got this, the wave, the sinking wave, the gravity wave flowing down through my body, but not enough that it actually makes me set and become completely still. So there's always this movement there, even when it's not there physically, it's still there in the energy. So basically a figure of 8. That's why the figure of 8 is just so useful. It just keeps the energy going. So you can see it like around the feet or just in the hips. And just feel like the tentacle of energy that comes out of your sacrum here and around. My intending mind. The intention makes the energy flow. Yeah, so we want the intention intending the energy and the energy moving the body. So they're not together. If they're all together, then I would simply be doing this. It would be mechanical, really. So as I sink into my left foot, the left leg is supporting me, which enables the other leg to open out, or the joints to open up and become active. So it's as I sink into this leg that the energy starts expressing in the other side, which pulls me across. This is what we want to really feel. Passive and active. When the leg is passive, then effectively the weight is in it. So all it's trying to do is stabilize me and hold me up. And the activity is in the other side, the side that's empty of the weight. A useful image for getting the feeling for intent and energy extending, extruding out of your body is the octopus. So the octopus is just all feeling, it's all intent. Just imagine what it has to do with its mind to get this tentacle to extend out. That's the way that we're working. I'm sinking into this foot, but something is extending out of this side. And that hugs at the ground to pull me towards it. And now let's try this with the arm. It's easier in a sense with the arms because we're more used to expressing with them. Again, feeling it coming out of the back. My shoulder blade pulls away from my spine. And eventually this tentacle extends and then it just grabs something and pulls it in. So how does the mind change? You've got those three phases really: extending, clasping, and then drawing in. And they've all got different minds. I reach out and think, now I've got it. And then I pull it in. And you see that, the intending mind, it really is the heart mind, not the head mind. So if something in me has to let go into the extension, and that's the heart, something in the heart releases, and then this tentacle can extend. The arm extends and straightens, and then it bends. Feel the leg doing the same thing. This leg is extending, really straightening, and then all it has to do is just relax that straightening, and it will naturally pull. And then let's try just a bit of moving backwards and forwards. Feel the full and empty. So one leg has my weight. So what that's concerned with is just making sure I don't fall down. So keeping it all together, really. But the other leg is active, so it's responsible for moving me. So the active leg, it can either straighten, in which case it will push everything into this foot, or it can bend, in which case it starts to pull the weight back into it. So the active leg straightens and then it bends. Straightens and then bends. Straightens and bends. And the bending is largely in the knee. And remember, the knee doesn't just bend forwards like this, it has to go outwards, which means that my hip has to come inwards, because what I don't want is for my knee going out to pull my hip up like this. This is where the sitting cross-legged comes in useful. So the knee goes out, and then I drop down almost down the middle. Just think of the knee just wanting to escape. And that is the action that starts everything coming in. Then the other foot forwards. And first the leg straightens and then it bends. So the straightening really flushes everything out of it, and then the bending will pull into it. And now, finally, riding horse. The gravity, this flow down through me. So the ego is like a, they all say that it's basically a prison. It's a room, a cage that we're locked into by this habitual, noisy mind. There's a place where there's no energy, basically. There's only worry, thinking. So it keeps everything in a small, comfortable, known world. It's like, now, the world is our oyster, if you like, so you can travel wherever you like, but everywhere you go now is the same. And so we've turned the world into an image of our own egos. To get out of that, we just need to relax and swell. Just feel the energy extending out of that cage rather than being locked in. So we have this posture, riding horse. It looks like, like we're holding something or we're keeping something in, but really we're just trying to relax and swell. So here, this is trying to swell. My shoulder blades are swelling away from my spine. And the mind, it's a mind that's almost crazy with a desire to go back to spirit. Be so awake, so alive that the ego world it disappears, not because it's gone away, but because it's totally uninteresting. The world of the ego is basically the world of death. It's the world of objects that we have made. Man-made objects are the only objects on the planet that are dead. Every other natural object has a life to it, including the stones, the dust, the mountains, the lakes, the rivers, and of course, then the living world. Whereas man-made objects, the image of them, the new iPhone, it's very ordered. It's this beautiful rectangle, and it's got these shiny surfaces, which appeals to the childish mind, the infantile mind. And so what the mind loves about it is that it belongs to me. It's me. Whereas the natural world, you can't be like that with it. You can't own it. Because all you can do is just join with it. So what is it that enables that communion, enables that joining with that external object? And that's just spirit. But it's not the spirit that intends. It's not the intending mind spirit, which is not this octopus. For me, that's the best image of the intending energetic mind. Because that's what the octopus is, just all feeling. It's all love and movement, this beautiful fluid movement. So if I want to join with an object without going up and grabbing it and pulling it into me, I need to touch it with spirit. And for that, for me, the best image is the butterfly. So remember the word psyche, which we tend to translate as mind, so psychiatrist, psychedelic, psychology, actually for the ancient Greeks is actually meant soul or spirit. And it also was the same word for butterfly. And that's the sense of the spirit. So when I look at something with spirit, it's like I send out a butterfly, but the butterfly of my spirit settles upon the thing that I'm looking. And imagine what a blessing that would be if a butterfly fluttered and just landed on your head. You'd feel, oh, wow, yeah. You'd be blessed by spirit. And that's the sense that when we regard the world properly, we're blessing it all the time. I send out something and I can just let my spirit settle so gently and respectfully upon the objects in my environment. Now, the thing with man-made objects is that they will allow that, but they won't give anything back. If you do that, say, with a tree or a flower, then as you let your spirit settle upon the thing, you'll feel a gush into yourself. It gives so much back. It's a great practice, just walking here. Yeah, there isn't any nature in Israel anymore. It's just parks. So I'll go in the park and just every time I pass a tree, I just address it. So something here flutters out, lands on it, and it just comes back into me. It sends its own butterfly into me. And that's communion, that's communication. It's nothing to do with words. As soon as you have to use words, the communication's already stopped. You're now just placing demands, really. So feeling the energy, gravity is sinking down, and if I let it, it will just extrude out here and then reach down. And now let's just figure out that deliberately, mindfully feeling. Each shape that the body takes has its own distinct feeling. So when I'm doing this, I'm going through such a range of different configurations of my body that the feelings are almost overwhelming if you let yourself feel them instead of just mechanically doing the exercise and thinking about something else. The same eyes. So my central vision is almost locked down into the center of the machine, my dantian. But my peripheral vision is seeing this movement and encouraging it. Now, this is John just through and through. I mean, that energetic body that he was investigating, the wings, the horns, the mane, the breastplate, the cages in the calves. It just all came out of just quietening the mind. But you know what a lively spirit John had. So when you quieten the mind, the activity leaves the mind, so it has to go somewhere else. So your spirit will just become incredibly alive. That's why, for me, most meditation just sort of misses the point. Stop activity, return to stillness, and that stillness will be even more active. So that's correct. just sitting there quietly and drifting into non-dual consciousness. It's a bit theoretical, really. And now, it swells out of my back and curves around. So this constant flow. So feel the gravity, it's flowing down. And I want to just release into that. So this thing of the sense of the tap in the bottom of the spine that you turn on so that the water can just flow down. So that's the mind. That's the mind that we want, a mind that's just with the energy, with the flow. As soon as it gets distracted and thinks, that flow will stop. It's as though someone turned the tap off. And then I have to use strength to stay up because there's no pressure of energy. It's the same here in the arms. And now, let's just lift the leg. Getting into the foot in the right way. So it's like, imagine I'm stepping. So when you walk, you extend the foot and then you bend the leg to pull yourself into it. And if it fills with weight properly, then freedom will come into the other leg and you'll be able to lift it off the ground. So the difficulty is just keeping everything open here because we want to seize everything up and just freeze into a block because that feels like it gives me more stability. So here I extend the foot and then I bend it to pull myself. And remember, I go round the edge, outside edge, and then this foot just comes up. So this is the sense of sinking. It's as though you're sinking around the edges and something can then come up the middle. That's the spine. So when you sink, so the flow is down through the bone, if you like, and then in the center where the nerves are, there's a flow upwards. So here, just relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. Extend the foot and then bend the leg. And remember, it's the same. The knee is bending, but the hip is bending as well. So I want to be able to bring my weight into the leg without the joints sort of seizing up and compressing. Inside me there needs to be like a pressure that I'm pushing these joints open. And I'll just keep the flow down, stay with gravity. And everything that we're working on, in a sense, it's already there. We just have to bring the mind to it, bring the mind to bear. So gravity will basically do the work for you if you can just stay with it. So sinking and lifting here. If I can get this flow continuous, like turn the tap on here, it's just this gush, then this will just endlessly rise to balance that. Same thing really, but just stepping with it. So the stepping backwards and forwards exercise. All the time I'm pulling myself into the leg. So when I pull with the leg, it's creating traction on the sacrum, which is what I want. I want the sense that these joints in my leg is going to support me, first of all, being pulled open. This comes up, and then I extend it out again, like the butterfly. Like my toe, my big toe is like the butterfly that's fluttering out of me. It settles so gently, and then the leg can start pulling me into it. So there's a butterfly on my knee that's lifting it. And then when I extend the foot, that butterfly's gone down to my foot. So it's leading all the time. The butterfly is leading. It's almost like it has a life of its own. And so when you step, just really extend the leg. Because what I want to feel is the hip bone sort of coming away from the sacrum a little bit, the same way that the shoulder blade comes away from the spine. I want the sense that the hip has sort of pulled away from. Again, I need to turn this way a little bit to get the extension. Same way I need to turn away from the front to get the arm to extend. So, and then I can pull. Then the pull will happen by itself, simply from just relaxing that reach. Remember that wonderful thing that Leon said, every day make at least 100 friends, but no enemies. And it's a bit like, when you let your spirit, let your butterfly settle upon something, you befriend it, you make a friend of it. So every time I put my foot on the ground, it's as though it's this butterfly blessing the ground. last Sunday went for a walk in the park in Tel Aviv. I just practiced this. So every time I passed a tree, so most of the trees in the park are either palm trees, so date palms, or eucalyptus. And every time I pass one, it's just letting the spirit go out and settle upon the thing. So I was, pleased with myself because it was working quite well. And then suddenly this painted lady, this butterfly just fluttered past. And then at one point I just sat down in the shade because it was damn hot. And this gaggle of Egyptian geese just sort of wandered up and started grazing around me. So when you get it right, you'll get confirmation from nature, from the natural world. So I'm settling on the ground, I'm relaxing into it, but in a very lively, energetic way. If I'm dead, then I'll just be my dead weight and everything will just squash onto the ground. I want the joints, those points of connection really. So each joint and the soles of my feet almost feel like there's a cushion of air inside each one, which is just enabling movement to always express in the body, especially the turning. And then bring it up. Now let's just do a little bit of this again. And then just let it settle. That movement, that potential for movement is still there.